This is Caesar, Book 5, Chapter 30, and this passage contains a speech by Sabinus explaining why the men should leave the winter camp rather than wait for an attack by the enemy. The passage begins with an ab, hoc disputatione habita, with this conversation having been held, in utramque partem, on each side, cum a Cotta primisque ordinibus acriter resisterator, when it implied was resisted fiercely by Cotta and the first ranks. Vincite inquit siita voltis Sabinus. Prevail, said Sabinus, if you wish thus. Et id clariore voce, and he said implied, it with a clearer voice, but magna pars militum exaudiret, so that a great portion of the soldiers might hear him from afar. And that from afar is included in the verb, which is in the subjunctive due to the fact that this is all a purpose clause. And then back to the beginning, vincite is a plural imperative. Neque is sum, inquit, nor am I the one ex vobis of or among you all, he said, qui gravissime mortis periculo terrear, who is most seriously frightened by the danger of death. He sapient. These implied people will understand or will be aware of it. Si gravius quid accederet, if anything more serious will have occurred, obste rationem reposcent, then they will demand a reckoning by you, or we might just say in English, at your hand. Qui, these who, si per te liceat, if it were permitted by you, coniuncti perendino die, having been united the day after tomorrow, that's an idiomatic phrase right here, cum proximis hibernis, with the nearest winter quarters, communem cum reliquis belli casum sustaneant, may put up with or sustain the common calamity of war with the rest. And the rest is referring to the rest of the winter quarters. So there's two special clauses in this part of the passage. The first is a future more vivid, in which the two verbs up here are in the indicative, and then there's a future less vivid, which can be translated like should, would, and these are both in the subjunctive, the licea and the sustaneant. Non reiecti et relegati longeab carceris, and not having been rejected and separated, or that can be taken as abandoned also, so separated or abandoned from, far from the rest, interiant, perish either by the sword or by famine. So I know that can be kind of choppy throughout, so I'm just going to read it through all the way one time. With this conversation having been held on each side, when it was resisted fiercely by Cotta and the first ranks, prevail, said Sabinus, if you wish thus, and he said it with a clearer voice so that a great portion of the soldiers might hear him from afar. Nor am I the one of you all, he said, who is most seriously frightened by the danger of death. These people will understand. If anything more serious will have occurred, then they will demand a reckoning by you or at your hands. These who, if it were permitted by you, having been united the day after tomorrow with the nearest winter quarters, may put up with the common calamity of war with the rest. And not having been rejected and separated far from the rest, perish either by the sword or by famine.